Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Medicare can be confusing, but it doesn't have to be. My name is Andrea Corpening, and I am an agent authorized to offer AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare Insurance Company. I can guide my clients through understanding Medicare coverage options and help them discover what may make AARP Medicare plans from United Healthcare a great choice. I can be reached at 281-773-6239. That's Andrea Corpening at 281-773-6239. I can help those find a plan with confidence.
Welcome to VeteransAir, the Veterans Hour. This is a special podcast commemorating September 11th. Everyone, well, I guess this is our Patriots Day Remembrance broadcast. September 11th holds deep meaning for me, and it's a very emotional day for me. And I'm going to share that with you today. Everyone remembers where they were when Kennedy was shot. Everyone remembers where they were when Elvis died. Everybody remembers where they were when Lennon was shot in the back like a dog in the street. And now, everyone remembers where they were on September 11th. Billy Joel wrote a song many decades ago called Miami 2017. And some of the lyrics in this song hold meaning to those of us affected by November 11th. The lyrics in the song say, "A handful still survive to tell the world about the day the lights went out and keep the memory alive. If it was me, I'd do everything within my power to keep the memory alive." But we don't see the images anymore. We don't talk about September 11th anymore. Today, we are. Today, I'm going to share my story of where I was at on September 11th. So I ask you, where were you the day the world stopped turning? It's been 22 years since that morning, a morning burned into my memory in such a way I cannot forget what I saw, what I felt and still feel to this day, are feelings that I never knew before. I was a high-priced business consultant delivering a pitch. I'm good today. I was a high-priced business consultant delivering a pitch to board members in a downtown Houston high-rise the morning of September 11th. When the first plane struck the World Trade Center's North Tower, it was a tragic accident. 17 minutes later, at 9:02 a.m., Flight 175 slammed into the South Tower, and I knew that we were at war. As implausible as it seemed at the time, someone had just attacked the United States. I watched in horror, paralyzed by the very thought that the United States could be attacked in this manner. It was time that I contacted Colonel Omph, he's at the Pentagon, to find out if the balloon has finally gone up. As I'm navigating my way through the intricacies of the Pentagon switchboard, 30 minutes after I just watched on live TV Flight 175 slam into the South Tower, the line to the Pentagon went dead. I ran back to the conference room, to the TV, turned up the volume, just as America was being informed that the Pentagon was also hit, and to stand by for video. The Pentagon? Attacked? That's just not possible. But it was, and as the reports came in, the full impact of what happened hit me. We were at war, and I just lost Colonel Amph and Wendy Sue at the same time. That can't happen. I prayed God I cannot lose both of them at the same time. Okay, I admit it. It was then that I flipped into my wife calls the Ranger mode and what those who served with me call my combat operations mode. There are steps that must be followed. Step 1, secure the AO. Okay, I'm in a downtown Houston at a client's office on the 6th floor. The AO is filled with civilians, unsecurable, and I'm not too sure about the loyalty of some of these people. The situation is fluid. I cannot evac. Okay. Assess the current situation and determine possible internal threats, avenues of attack, threat vectors, and protect the non-combatants. Told you I slipped into my combat operations mode. Step 2, determine remaining assets. I call home and read Patreon on what's happening, and I have her get her daughter from school. I look to the 2 other veterans with me, and Tim, one badass prepper, for support. Step 3, find your battle buddy. I called Brother Johnny. He was already on standby and reporting to his unit. We said our goodbyes, just in case. Stay safe, stay vigilant. To Valhalla, brother. I tried over and over again to get hold of Colonel Amph and Wendy Sue, but all the lines were jammed. I called her husband, but no luck getting through there either. I'm starting to lose it at this point because Wendy Sue worked on E-Ring in the Pentagon on the wing that was hit. Her office was obliterated. Step 4, gather intel. Damn it, I need intel. Where are my battle captains and why aren't they on the net? Breathe. You are not Dragon 6 Actual. Civilians have no idea what battle captains, TOCs, or RTOs are. And even if they did, they wouldn't give them to you. You are an old, out-of-shape, disabled veteran running around being a business consultant with a ponytail. Wait, what the duck? I had a ponytail? 5, sit rep. No matter what channel you're watching, the news and information is the same. The FAA has grounded all air traffic over the skies in the United States of America. The president is on Air Force One. The Air Force has scrambled jets, and the Navy is sending a missile cruiser to New York City. Okay, this is good. I'm actually starting to feel better. But now I feel mad. They attacked us. You do know that we are about to make them crawl back into whatever hole they were born in and pray for death. Hey, it's been only 9 years at the time since I wore the uniform. I can go back in and do my duty again. Sadly, the local recruiter, said no. He was all apologetic. But basically, he said if the USA needed an old, broken down NBC NCO, they'd give me a call. But until then, go home. Step 6. Prepare to shoot, move, and communicate. Watch the news. Call Colonel Omph. Call Wendy Sue. I got home and repeated the process of watching and calling. I held my wife. I held my daughter. I didn't want to let them out of my sight. I made sure my .38 and my 9mm were clean, locked, and loaded, that we had food, water, and the vehicles were gassed. I realized at that point I was not honoring my oath. I wasn't prepared, and I promised myself never again. For 3 days, I was a wreck. I went from preparing for war to inconsolability. I lost Colonel Omph and Wendy Sue. I knew it. I felt it. They were taken from me. Two people that I served with. You see, Colonel Omfroy was my mentor, my good friend, the godfather of my daughter. And Wendy Sue was my oldest and dearest confidant. She was the one person that I told everything to. They were family. God, please, I prayed, please, I can't lose them both. Someone took them from me and put Brother Johnny back in harm's way. With my dying breath, I will avenge them. I swore this deepest oath. It was 3 days in hell until I got a call from Colonel Omph and from Wendy Sue. Wendy Sue was across the highway from the Pentagon that morning in the Navy Annex when the plane hit, and everyone there was naturally sequestered for 3 days. The Omph, well, the Omph's whereabouts has always been on a need-to-know basis, and all he said was that he was out of pocket. I didn't lose them. Felt like I had, but I didn't. I was one of the lucky ones. As I've said, it's been 22 years since that day, and a lot in America has changed. On September 12th, when I walked out my door, looked to the left and looked to the right, every single house was flying the American flag. 22 years later, I'm the only one on my block that flies Old Glory every day. As I said, a lot has changed in the 22 years since September 11th. We have wars and, not allowed to say it, we have wars in countries that politicians do not have the stomach to do what is necessary to win, or that we can't win. We have veterans coming back from these wars shattered and broken in body and mind. We have talking heads and politicians telling us that it's okay just to open your hearts and minds. Islam is a religion of peace and love. Illegal aliens have more rights than American citizens. If you are a patriotic American and proud of it, you are a threat to the state. I will not forget the people who died that day, or the awful anguish I felt when I thought I lost people I love. I will not forget the men and women of the New York Fire Department and the New York Police Department that went back into the burning hell that was the Twin Towers to rescue as many as they could. I will not forget the sight of men and women leaping from the 99th floor of the World Trade Center, choosing instant death over being roasted alive. I will not forget the mayor of New York City holding the city together by the sheer force of his will while he evacuated South Manhattan. I will not forget the way a nation was brought to its knees. I will not forget seeing the mighty skyline fall. I will not forget the impact on me when I visited the site of the World Trade Center years later, as they were still clearing debris to build the new tower. I cannot forget the sight of the roses that I tossed into the pit. The way the roses tumbled, the way they fell, reminded me of those that had to leap from the towers themselves. Yes, you do as you will, and I'll do what I have done since that day. I will never forget. I will never forgive. And the list of people to blame is long. It was 9/11 that made me the way I am today. It was 9/11 that forged my will to do for my fellow veterans and render support to our first responders. I will continue to serve my fellow veterans to the best of my abilities. I will continue to be a champion for immigrants that came to America by the front door and that want to be Americans, not create enclaves of their former countries. I will continue to honor our police, our firemen, and our first responders. America, you swore that you would never forget, but you have. You have welcomed caravan of illegals to our shores without vetting them. You have elected Islam to our government that stand in the very halls of Congress and preach hate and death to America. In the name of political correctness, you have swallowed or you have allowed godlessness, deviance, and perversions to rule our society. You preach the virtues of socialism to our children and hate for American values. If you stand against America, if you stand or sympathize with those that would do harm to destroy the American life, then let this serve as your warning. I do solemnly swear that I will protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I'm going to keep my oath alive. I want to thank you for listening to my story. Would you please join me for a toast? Raise your glass, veterans, for we honor our fallen. Many times down through the years, our country has called, and many men and women have answered that call. Let us not forget our fallen comrades. Let us honor them always, for they have earned our respect and admiration with their lives. To our fallen comrades. Raise a glass to those who think of others, to those who think of others in danger before themselves. For our police, firemen, and first responders who risk their safety and lives for me, my family, my neighbors, and my friends, to our first responders. Raise your glass for the United States of America. I have fought for her, bled for her, and I'm willing to die protecting her freedoms and liberties. To the United States of America. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my 9/11 tribute. But before we go, I want to talk to you a minute about another organization that has never forgotten and that keeps the memory alive. Yes, I'm talking about tunneltotowers.org. This show gives yearly Tunnel to Towers, and I personally give each month to Tunnel to Towers. If you are not familiar with this organization was founded by the Stiller brothers in memory of their brother Stephen. Now, Stephen was a fireman in New York City, and he got caught in the Battery Tunnel the day the towers were attacked. Now, Stephen, being off duty, on his way to play golf with his brothers, put on 88 pounds of his firefighting gear and ran from the Battery Tunnel to the Twin Towers to save as many as he could. Sadly, Stephen lost his life in the towers. His brothers formed Tunnel to Towers, and their mission is to provide mortgage-free homes to the families of fallen first responders and critically injured veterans. Something like 98 cents of every dollar donated goes directly to providing these mortgage-free homes, or for them to pay off your mortgage if you're a first responder, police officer, a fireman that has lost their life. They'll pay the mortgage off for the family. I cannot think of a more worthy foundation to sponsor, and it only takes $11 a month. Go to T2T.org. That's T, the number 2, the letter T.org, and find out for yourself. You can be part of the solution. I hope that, well, I don't know when this is going to air, but whenever it does, September 11th at 6:30 p.m., the VFW in Conroe, VFW 4709, will be having its Veterans Day Remembrance Service. I'll be there as the guest speaker. And it's open to the public. If you're an American and you haven't forgotten, please join us. Again, thank you for listening. This has been VeteransAir, its special September 11th podcast. I'm going to end this the way I end each one of my shows, with a song. This song, I'm Going Anyway, is by Sailor Jerry. Please just give a listen to this. And let us remember, while we're listening to the song, to our brothers and sisters that are wearing the uniform today and putting themselves in harm's way. If you are wearing the uniform, I want to tell you thank you. I want to tell you I'm proud of you. And until next month, stay safe and stay vigilant.
A tattoo on the back of his arm saying 65. I've been to hell and back, but I'm It's those 18 months holding tough in that desert sun. It's a mama waiting back home with the little ones. Strong comes from endless places. Strong is in many faces. Strong's fighting back when you're just holding on. Strong is an inner battle. Strong is a horse and saddle. Strong's when you fall, but you get back on and on and on. That's strong. She has a scar on her chest from that surgeon's knife. She might have lost her hair, but she kept her life. It's hard to keep the faith when your body's the battlefield. It's a pain no one can see, but it still feels real. Strong comes from endless places. Strong is in many faces. Strong's fighting back when you're just holding on. Strong is an inner battle. Yeah, it's a horse and saddle. Strong's when we fall, but we get back on and on and on. That's strong. It's the boys in blue who give their all. It's a folded flag for a father's son. It's who rises up when they get the call. It's the one who fights and overcomes. Strong comes from endless places. Strong is in many faces. Strong's fighting back when you're just holding on. Strong is an inner battle. Yeah, it's a horse and saddle. Strong's when you fall, but you get back on and on.